And we're up. Welcome to the H&N Digital Center for another edition of the Long Game Podcast. Today's guest, Andy Archer, star with the Savannah Bananas, former University of Hawaii pitcher. You are a social media sensation. People look up the Savannah Bananas on Instagram. There's a huge following, an enormous following. We're talking about playing in front of stadiums, major league stadiums, and just massive crowds throughout the country. You've come to adopt Hawaii as a home here, and you are back home for the offseason. Andy, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, dude, thank you so much for having me. It's so wild. It feels super surreal to be back here after so much time away, living out of a suitcase for like 10 months. But it's funny that you said that you feel like I've adopted Hawaii. I feel like, honestly, it's been the other way around with some of my story, and I'm sure we'll get into that. But super grateful to have just the right place to come back, be in community, put on youth clinics, and get back to, impacting the next generation through sports. And shout out to Coach Hill, letting me come back and train at the facility. So I'm fired up to be back.
Yeah, we're going to get into the magic of it all and just the process of falling in love with the islands and how everything has played out. How long is the Savannah Bananas off season?
Well, short answer is not long enough, but it's about from middle of October to middle of January. So I got some time to get tan and then probably lose it in a week when I go back, but it's good to go.
What were some of the memorable venues that you played in this past year?
Ooh, good question. It's so hard to narrow it down. I think for me, three very special ones were one, Clemson football stadium. So that was one of our first, I think it was our second time in a football venue, fully sold out. It was the biggest game in our organization's history with 81,000 fans. Very cool for me being the starting pitcher for that game. And I think it was our first ESPN game of the year. So stakes probably could not have been any higher, which is super cool. But it was a great moment for us to come together as a team with the fans, do something unprecedented. So I think it's hard for that one to get topped for me. I think additionally, Seattle was really cool. Just having 100, 150 people, through UH Foundation making the trip, coming out, supporting me, having a UH alumni event the night before, and then, my Hanai mom and sister making the trip as well. And then lastly, Atlanta was really special too. Like first time I was starting pitcher in an MLB stadium.
Playing at the Braves Stadium.
Stadium.
Okay.
Yeah. Truist Park. And it was funny because the last time I was there, it was when I was in college at Georgia Tech before I transferred. And I was in the stands watching Georgia Tech play because I was recovering from Tommy John surgery. And so it was a cool moment to kind of go full circle from being in the crowd watching, wishing I was playing, to actually pitching. And so it was just a really, really special year. And it's so hard to narrow it down to three, dude. We could talk about that all day, but that's kind of the three that stick out.
We're going to get into more of the Bananas experience, but I want to go back to this and kind of your path here to Hawaii. So You are originally from Georgia.
Yes.
You played at Georgia Tech. When did you come over and be a Rainbow Warrior?
Ooh, okay. So the story, I'll try and give you the Spark Notes version if you know. We need a single time. Maybe if I start rambling, be like, hey, like. But so Georgia Tech. So story kind of goes. Both my parents went there. I kind of grew up a huge GT baseball fan. So when I had the chance to go walk on the team, it was a no-brainer. I had good grades, and then made the team my freshman year. Barely pitched. And then from there, I was like, I really want to, honestly, I want to see how good I can get at this game of baseball. Work super hard, put on a ton of weight. Sophomore year, my fastball, gets above 90 miles an hour for the first time. Keeps climbing. Have a great year as the closer, lead the team in appearances, saves. I believe top, 2 in ERA, something like that. And then kind of things are looking good. I go to pitch in the prestigious Cape Cod League. Pitch well, setting myself up potentially for a draft opportunity my junior year. And, come back, go through the fall, preseason hits. I'm warming up, to go pitch, and I feel this pop in my elbow. I feel like my arm absolutely explodes. It was like the scariest feeling ever. I don't wish that upon anyone, but I made this throw, and I was like, I just blew my elbow out. And then sure enough, the MRI confirmed that. I was in surgery 2 weeks later, the day after my 21st birthday. Funny story there. The surgeon, he's like, is this right? Like the pre-op appointment the day before, it was on my birthday. He's like, is it your birthday? I was like, yeah. He's like, you're 21? He goes, go get you some sangria. And I was like, what even is sangria, dude? Right. So go have some sangria, obviously. And then, Dr. Dugas, he dominated my surgery. I still got the scar. It's kind of gnarly. When I get like some sun on it, you can see it a little better. But
that's a Tommy John scar.
Yep.
Right there. Okay.
Yep. And so it was a 14-month recovery for me to come back and pitch. And then right kind of when I was coming back, my arm still really hurt, but I was in game action. COVID hits. So I'm essentially, 2 straight years of not pitching at all. Come back in this.
Which in an odd way kind of allowed you time to recover.
No one else is playing. 100%.
Okay.
Yeah. No, dude, that is such a good point. And I forget that sometimes is I was not quite 100% when the COVID pandemic ended our season. I was throwing hard, but my arm it hurt every single day. And I know a lot of guys that have had Tommy John surgery dealt with that as well, but kind of just, grit your teeth and get through it. It was honestly well-timed from that perspective. And then come back spring of 21, earn a starting, weekend spot for Georgia Tech. I'm pitching on Saturdays, have a great season, cap it off with regional performance, winner go home game. We're in Vanderbilt's regional. I take the mound and I go a complete game shutout, 130 pitches. It was my last time pitching for Georgia Tech, so I kind of knew that, potentially going in. I was really hoping to get drafted. Came to an agreement with the Tampa Bay Rays, and it was like, hey, on the 17th round, we're going to pick you. And I was like, oh my gosh, the Rays, they do such a good job developing pitchers.
Right.
I walked on to Georgia Tech. This is like the fairy book, fairy tale kind of ending to the book. Next chapter, at least, this is what makes sense for me. And while this is happening, I'm telling other teams no because of, how much I want to play for Tampa Bay. And the pick comes, and they pick somebody else. And I was just like, what? How can this happen? And I had entered the transfer portal prior to that as kind of like an insurance policy, honestly. Right. But I knew there was a chance that I didn't get drafted, but I wanted to go somewhere for my last year just to keep making an impact. And if I wasn't going to get drafted, could I go somewhere to keep developing, make a leadership impact, play for a really competitive team, and then hopefully keep, that professional baseball dream alive. And that's what led me to UH and Coach Hill. And the story kind of goes, I was down to 3 schools, and I asked all of the coaches.
Did you get drafted eventually that year? If, the 17th? Okay.
No.
So no calls came in.
No, that was it. So
awful feeling, I can imagine.
Yeah, super nuts. But so I was talking to Coach Hill and basically, said, hey, if I don't get drafted, I'm going to come play for you. And then my grandpa, so we were all in the room together, like my whole family, because the Rays were like, we're picking you. And, parents, grandparents, friends, family. And the pick comes and goes, and everyone's just like dead silent. It was kind of this weird, awkward, like, who's going to say something kind of thing. And
what did your agent tell you?
That I was going to the Rays.
Oh, but when it didn't happen, what was the phone conversation after?
The phone. It was more or less like, hey, this happens.
Okay.
This is not unheard of that, there might be a few guys that they told that we're going to take you, and they've, got them ranked 1 through 4, and if one's not available, then it's 2, then it's 3. But he was great. Mike Moy, he was like the absolute man, super grateful for him. But anyway, so there was kind of this moment, and then my grandpa comes up to me, and he's already got his phone lock screen changed to UH, kind of showing me like, hey, like, you got more baseball to play. Don't let this kind of, affect you in that way. So it was kind of super, super crazy moment. But that was kind of how I led to, I guess, committing to UH. And then, yeah.
What was that phone conversation like with Rich Hill then when it came to be like, all right, we're going to do this now?
Yeah, I was super fired up just because getting to know him on the phone prior to that, he was a guy that I could tell he was culture over winning. And I wanted to play for someone who, it was just so important that he builds a winning culture, knowing that, whatever happens his first year as a head coach, it's going to come eventually. And I believe that, no one was kind of above discipline from him, and just the stories he told me about some of his former players. And then he gave me contact information from some of his former players. Some of them were still playing pro ball, some of them were out of baseball, and just all of them spoke so much about his character. And so when I knew that was going to be the guy I was going to play my last year of college baseball for, I was really excited.
So you come out here. Prior to that, you had not visited Hawaii.
One time.
Okay, one time. Only one time.
A year or two prior.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. So you come out here, and I'm guessing you immediately fell in love with the place. from our past conversations, it didn't take very long to realize like this is the right choice.
Yeah, and I think the best way that was confirmed to me that I was exactly where I needed to be was on the airplane moving to Hawaii for the first time. It was so quick. School starting right after the draft. I didn't have anywhere to live lined up. So I just had a hotel for a few days, and I was like, I'm going to find out an apartment, or I don't even know what I'm going to do. I've got a truck, so I might just like sleep in the truck for a little bit until I can figure it out. But I get on the plane, and I booked a window seat because I wanted to like see, the aliens flying in. It'd be super sick. But there's this woman and her daughter, and they're sitting in my row, and the daughter is sitting on the window seat. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'll just be a gentleman and I'll sit in the middle even though I'm 6'5", whatever. And we strike up a conversation because I was reading my Bible on the plane. I was just going cover to cover. And then I talk with this woman the whole time, 4 or 5 hours from LAX to Honolulu. And at the end of the flight, I was just pretty much, I was like, I don't have anywhere to live. Where should I be looking? Do you have any friends who are renting? And she goes, how about you just come move in with me and my family? We've got an open room. You can come right in. You can move in tonight, actually. And I was like, you've got 3 kids. You just met me. You don't really know anything about me. There's no way. But I was like, I'll come check it out. And I checked it out. And I moved in the next day and proceeded to live there for the next 3 years. And that became my Hanai family. And that was a moment where I felt like this is really where I'm supposed to be. And so UH senior night, my Hanai family was on the field with me, and just kind of could not have been a better, I think, way to set the tone for kind of what this place would mean to me the next couple of years.
What was that season like for you?
The baseball season?
Yeah, the baseball season.
If you look at it statistically, it was not my best.
Okay.
I think what I provided to the team was leadership and consistency, and then also some attitude. So I sometimes would pitch on Friday night, Saturday night start, and then come back and close on Monday. I told Coach, I was like, I want to step into whatever role I need to help this team win games, whether that's starting or not. Put my ego in the back seat and use me kind of in whatever way you think is going to help the team the most. And so if you look at my ERA, it was not, like I said, it was not my best season. But I look at things like innings pitched and appearances and, starts and then saves even. What I provided to this team, I think, was just someone who just really, really wanted to win. And then I think some of the fruit from that is looking at multiple of my teammates got drafted pitchers. And if there was any impact, I made, I hope that it was just on, those guys improving and becoming better and being more prepared for pro ball and life after baseball. And so we had a great year. I think at the time it was our best finish in, Big West Conference history. And just seeing what, the program has done the past couple of years, the direction, I'm so proud to call myself an alumni of the program. So, yeah. And
it's no surprise from what you being there in the early days of Rich Hill, you could see it coming.
For sure.
It's going to happen eventually. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't say enough good things about him. He, other than my dad, I would call him probably the best male role model in my life. And just our relationship from what it was before I even met him to now, that has held true. And I cannot say enough good things about Coach Hill.
It's crazy how things work out, huh?
Super nuts, for sure.
You find a place to stay on the plane ride over, and then you start playing with Rich Hill. It's kind of like everything gets aligned perfectly.
Yeah. Oh, and I got stories too. Like I got one of the best stories. And if I'm going too long, please let me know. So my Hanai family, they rented out the Heineken Hangout on a Sunday, but I pitched on like a Saturday night.
Okay.
And I was like, whatever, I'll just do my job, and then maybe I can like slide over to the Heineken Hangout or whatever. And I'm pitching on that Saturday night, and I'm pitching pretty well. I've got, I think, a shutout going into the 5th inning. And, starters, you want to go 5 innings. That's kind of the benchmark. That's the standard. You go 5 innings and turn over to the bullpen, if not longer. And it's the 5th inning, and I've got 2 outs. And then I give up a base hit. So runner on first, 2 outs. We're winning. I'm pitching well. And Coach Hill, calls time, starts walking out to the mound. And I'm like, oh, he's just going to give me a scouting report. He's going to tell me, keep doing your thing, give me a slap on the butt and say, you're good to go. And he signals to the bullpen to take me out of the game. And I had not quite yet flipped the switch from a competitiveness attitude perspective.
Okay.
And I don't remember exactly what I said to him, but it was not super respectful. It was not something that a player should ever say to a coach. I'll leave it at that. And what was worse was all of the infield kind of was around, and I said what I said to him in front of my teammates that I was, trying to lead and be a good example for. And so Coach Hill, he tells me to go home. He kicks me basically out of the dugout, sends me home, and he says, don't come back tomorrow either. So he suspends me for a game. And it's the day that my Hanai family is coming to the Heineken hangout. And so in the next morning, they're getting ready to go. They're driving to my game. I'm fuming angry. They're not even broadcasting the game, so I've got it on the radio. And I'm listening, and they win. I get a text after the game from Rich. And it's a picture of him and my Hanai mom. Biggest smiles ever. And I'm like, is he rubbing it in right now? And so I'm like so mad, but I got to calm down. I call him. I was like, Coach, can we please meet tomorrow? He's like, yeah. So I just walk in, and I was like, Coach, I'm so sorry for how I talked to you. It was extremely disrespectful. Not only that, but I did it in front of my teammates, and that should never be the example I try to set. He goes, what took you so long to say that? He goes, you're back, man. You're good to go. And so it was just this moment where he taught me like a great lesson about respecting your authority. And I wish that I didn't have to make that mistake in the first place. But it was so funny that it was the day that my Hanai family was coming, and that he used that to kind of, just help me learn this great lesson. So, yeah.
What does Rich Hill sending you home sound like? Because this is a first kind of story I've heard about, some sort of tense exchange with one of his players. Well, how did that play out?
Yeah. Well, some more context. It was not the first time that he had done something like that to a player, and it was not the last time. It was, I think, at least a somewhat common thing that happened my first year. And I wouldn't quite say I would want to share kind of exactly the words used, because Rich can be a fiery guy. He's a very competitive guy. He really
big
wants
personality.
Big personality. Yeah. Love him. Coach, if you're watching, love you. Love you enough to not say kind of what that conversation looked like.
I could put two and two together of what you may have said to him and what his reaction would have been. Just like, I'm not going to stand for that.
Right.
Not in those words, but
yeah, exactly. He, the buck stops with him. I'll say that. He is. You're not going to out alpha Coach Hill. So
now
I learned that lesson.
Years removed from it, you can laugh about it.
Oh yeah, I mean, dude, every time I come back, Coach Hill and I are going to Cafe Kyla. We always go there. I saw him a few days ago. We got breakfast again, and he is a huge reason why I ended up on the Bananas. The way he vouched for me. To the organization, and honestly went out on a limb a little bit for me after 2 years out of baseball completely. I really can't overstate how much he helped me be in the position I'm in now. So our relationship now is the strongest it's ever been, and he's like a great role model even still.
After UH, what was your next move?
Ooh, well, based on the year I had, it was not pro baseball. That was not an option that was on the table given my statistical performance and age at that point. Mm-hmm. But
because you had graduated, you're 22, 23?
I was older than that. I was 24.
Okay.
I was 24. It was my 6th year of college after
the COVID years
and Tommy John back-to-back.
Okay.
So I was older, but finishing up my master's degree at UH. And, I, had some bills to pay, so it was right to work. So I got a job working for Outrigger Hotels and Resorts.
You knew you wanted to stay in Hawaii?
Yes.
Okay.
No doubt about it. I just kind of felt like, the way the community had adopted me, kind of like what I was saying earlier, and just how I felt super connected with my friends and a local church at the time, and just kind of felt like, hey, I don't know how long this is going to be, but no doubt I'm going to stick around, at least for a little bit. And so, so I got a job in Waikiki. Love my coworkers, still talk to a bunch of them today. They're renovating our office, so I haven't been back yet. But last year, I remember, they kind of threw me like a surprise lunch. And so I was the youngest kind of person in the office, and they really kind of took me under their wing. And I was everyone's like either little brother or like son, honestly, in a lot of ways. So, it was like a really, really tight-knit group we had. And they've honestly supported me so well on my time with the Bananas, so really cool.
So after UH, you're working at Outrigger.
Yeah.
You have the corporate job.
Right.
Okay.
Desk job.
So how does one go from that type of position, being out of baseball, to joining one of the more entertaining teams in baseball with the Savannah Bananas?
Yeah.
How does that path connect the dots there?
Yes. It was honestly miraculous is the way to say it. So I was 2 years out of baseball, and I was kind of playing men's league, but kind of not. So really wasn't staying in throwing shape at all. My saving grace was that I was surfing just about every single day. And so my shoulders stayed super strong, my back, my core, my balance, breathing, everything that relates to pitching was still kind of there. I'll say that. But the catalyst for everything was I was doing middle school ministry at Inspire Church. And I had some students who were baseball players. And these 11, 12-year-old kids, they're talking, week in, week out about how they want to use their God-given talents, gifts and abilities and desires to glorify the kingdom. And I'm like, how are these 12-year-old kids talking about this and doing it in this way? I don't feel like I used what I was given as well as these 12-year-old kids are doing right now. And when I realized that, it really stung. It really hurt because I felt like I didn't steward well what I was given. And as an athlete, as a believer, as a human, that's kind of all you really want to do is just your best. And it's just really it stuck with me. I remember that there was this one night where I just couldn't sleep. I was like, how could I have gone this long in baseball and not seen it all the way through? Why did I not try to do indie ball or draft or free agent signing after UH? Why did I just kind of give up? And I was in a men's group at the time, and then I kind of shared this with them, and then unprovoked, they were like, we're going to start praying that you have a chance to play baseball again. And I was like, there's no way. I haven't played in 2 years. I haven't touched the ball in who knows how long. There's absolutely no way. And then sure enough, they just started praying, and they wouldn't stop. They would never stop. And so my parents actually ended up going to a Savannah Bananas game. I never heard about it before.
Because they're still living in Georgia.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And so they drive all the way down to Savannah. They attend, and they're like, Andy, you should check this out. And I was like, there's no, like, what even is this? Is this like dancing baseball? So I start checking them out on Instagram, seeing, looks like these guys are having the time of their lives. I don't really even know what's going on. I don't know if it's a real game. I just see, guys my age look like they're having a blast. And I was like, oh, let me see what this is about. So I go on the website, and there's a page for like a prospective player questionnaire form, fill it out. And it asks for a video. And I'm like, okay, this is probably if I'm going to make an impression, it's going to be with this. I don't really think they're going to care about what I'm typing out for these responses. I need to make a strong video here. So I hire my little sister's roommate, and I give her all the footage for all the media and kind of crazy stuff I did on the baseball field in college that could relate. So on the field media with Rob or, Christian or whoever it was, and then other stuff I did coming off the mound, pounding my chest a little bit after, getting super
showing
fired up.
Personality, like a demo reel.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
Showing that I wasn't just, a bland kind of machine robot, baseball player. And if you are that way, I commend you. I could never play like that personally, which is probably good that I, do what I do now. But anyway.
Show you talking back to your head coach. That could
Thankfully, I did not include that. But if there's a clip of that, don't send it to me. I don't even want to see it. But the cool part about this video was Coach Hill. I was like, Coach, hey, I want to play for the Savannah Bananas. Do you know anyone there? And he just responds with a video of him. And he is just giving his sales pitch of me to the Bananas. He's like, oh, like Andy Archer would be a perfect fit for the Bananas, like leadership, like just kind of he's hyping me up so much, and like using his reputation as a head coach, basically putting that on the line for me, because if that didn't work out, what would have that said about him and all that stuff. So super grateful that Coach Hill he made a huge impact. And so I sent this video in, and the first thing that they say is, we love that your head coach talked about you like that. If that says anything about, what Coach Hill did for me. And so they're like, this is like at the end of October, 2023. They're like, Andy, we would love to see you pitch. Can you come, throw for us? And I'm like, I haven't thrown a baseball in like forever. Like, how can I buy myself some time here? I'm like, yeah, I'm actually coming back to Georgia for Thanksgiving. can you set up a tryout then? And they're like, yeah, that's actually after the last tryout we have scheduled, but we can make an exception for you.
All right.
So they had these kind of scheduled tryouts, and I missed the last one. But even still, they're like, yeah, we can, set this up for you. So I had essentially a month to start throwing a baseball again for the first time. And so here's my schedule. I would go to work. I had like a bag of 6 baseballs. I would go to Petrie Park, throw them against the chain link fence, walk over, pick the 6 balls up, walk back, do it again. I didn't throw off a mound one time. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I would do Cocoa Head to get myself in cardio shape. That was my training.
Because where was the cardio at that point?
It was non-existent, first of all, and it probably still is that way a little bit. So that was how I trained. I would throw balls against the chain link fence, and I would do Cocoa Head stairs. And I rolled into, Grayson Stadium, Savannah, Georgia, for my tryout. I'm throwing 92 miles an hour after not really being off the mound in 2 years, which was totally
a surprise to you,
yes,
even, I bet. Right?
Yes, 100%. They had like the iPad up that has your velocity and all that, and there was another guy trying out with me, and I was like, oh, is he throwing that hard? They're like, that's you. I was like, what? I was like, what? So, yeah, but to kind of set the stage a little more, the tryout that I was at, it was for one of the new developmental teams. It was either the Firefighters, which is the 3rd banana ball team, or the Visitors, which is our developmental team. They practice, they play like 6 games a year. And so that's what I was hoping for. And then sure enough, I got a call 2 days later, and they were like, hey, one of our pitchers for the Bananas did not sign. We have a spot for you on the Savannah Bananas. It's going to be for 3-month contract. It's going to be a temporary. You're going to have a chance to prove yourself, but we want to give you a shot. And so right after that, I called my boss at Outrigger, and I was like, hey, I'm going to quit my job.
Right.
And he was super happy for me and super supportive. His son is a baseball player, so it was super cool. But it was really sad. It was really scary. But yeah, that's kind of how I ended up, wearing yellow and doing this.
How would you describe how the Savannah Bananas baseball experience differs from any other baseball you've played in your life?
Yeah, I consider it a different sport entirely. I think that you've got the fundamental baseball is there. You hit the ball, you have to run to first base, you have to throw the ball to first base to record an out or catch it. So that's there. I think everything else is so different that it took so much unlearning for me to get accustomed to it. I think the biggest changes were the speed. So we're playing 9 innings in under 2 hours, period. The whole time I've been there, we have not had a game end early at the 2-hour time limit, which is one of the rules. Additionally, the external factors, like the distractions, the stimulation, I'll call it that, is extreme. You've got music blaring as loud as the speakers go, so much so that we're blowing out speakers at half the stadiums we go to. You've got 40,000 to 80,000 fans there going crazy the whole game. And on top of all that, you're trying to get a guy out at the plate who's probably played minor league, or professional baseball in some form. So it's super crazy, but I think what made the adjustment good is that there were so many veterans on the team when I joined that really took me under their wings and showed me the ropes. And we've got a small roster. And because of that, what we go through, we get so close. It's 26 guys on the team, okay, and it's 10 months together. And we've done that for 2 years with basically the same group. So our bond is so tight. And because of that, I was able to learn the game from a lot of the guys who made the game. So that really helped me and kind of, helped my process in expediting the way I can make an impact on the field and off the field as well.
How much of the experience, what's the percentage ratio of baseball versus the entertainment, the stimulation part of it?
That is the ultimate question, because the baseball department is always fighting for more baseball, more banana ball, more game. And then entertainment's always like...
And also, can you clarify something for everyone here, that the skill level baseball-wise, you're dealing with guys here that have minor league professional experience, high-level college experience throughout the teams that you're playing.
Yeah, it's cool. We're playing a real game.
Right.
And, this year for the first time we're playing games that count. And part of the way that I'm evaluated is how I can perform in these games and get these hitters out. And like you said, we've got guys who were drafted in the first round. For the first time in 2026, there will be players on rosters with major league experience, which kind of shows you that the level of talent is increasing. And yeah, like at the end of the day, like if you're not able to get guys out, you're not going to pitch, which is a really interesting aspect of this whole thing. And yeah, what was I talking about before?
No,
I don't remember for a second.
So there's that part, and then I guess let me rephrase it.
Oh, the entertainment versus baseball.
Part.
Yeah.
And then how much did you kind of need to embrace that part of your personality? I mean, because you have an outgoing personality, but to take it to that next level of being, a Savannah Banana there, what did that take for you?
Yeah, dude, it was really hard. And I think I always had this aspect while I was playing baseball where I was trying to have fun the whole time. I was always a guy who loved going to the field. I looked forward to practice and games. It was the best part of my day in college, always. And not everyone really had that same experience. And there's kind of like a stigma in college baseball, and some coaches more than others, that it's like, hey, when you're on the field, you're competing. Like, we want you to kind of be that machine. And I'm not saying that's bad at all. In fact, if that's your strength, then I really encourage you to lean into that. And I played with a lot of players who were really successful, who kind of had that mentality that this is work, no emotion, and I'm going to take care of my business. And, my highs are never going to be too high, but my lows are never going to be too low. And in banana ball, you're really encouraged to express yourself kind of in ways that in baseball you really can't. And that's okay, because we're not trying to be baseball. We really want there to be a clear divide, and that we want people to enjoy baseball and banana ball separately. Yeah. We really don't want to, we don't want there to be a confusion as to what we're trying to be. We're not trying to be Major League Baseball. And because of that, we're able to lean into like our personalities a little bit. And it really is cool to see me and my teammates have outlets to express ourselves in so many different ways. For some guys, that's crazy haircut. You're going to dye your hair. You're going to put stars in it, or like the avatar arrow, whatever it may be. For some guys, it's cleats or socks or gloves or bats, or it's dancing. It's so many different ways that you can kind of use the unique parts about you to make the experience great and memorable for everybody. But that's kind of the classic debate between baseball and entertainment is some guys are going to be more baseball heavy. Some guys are going to be more entertainment heavy. And that constant, tug of war, I think, is the magic in some ways. Yeah. Because some games you're going to show up to the stadium and see a really good competitive game. That's going to be a pitcher's duel. Guys are going to be going crazy, great defense. Some games you're going to go and you're going to see All-American rejects performing a live show right in the middle of the fifth inning, and you've got no idea. And we're going to do a crazy, like, hard dance or, greatest showman piece. And you really don't know what you're getting into until you show up. And so that's kind of a unique piece of it as well.
What's the most elaborate on-field spontaneous production that you've been a part of?
Oh, that is such a good one. I think the hardest one to pull off maybe was Chance the Rapper when we were in Chicago. Just because he's such a high-profile guy. And a lot of these, like, high-level musicians, they're so concerned about the details, and the Bananas, we're like that too, because I think that's another thing that we pay super close attention to. But trying to get everything perfect for these big level guests to kind of show them what we're really all about. Like, this is not a joke. When they show up to the stadium, we're going to have our choreography done. We're going to have your whole route mapped out so we can execute this thing as well as we can, because we've only got one shot in the middle of a game. And it was really elaborate, that piece, because we had both teams involved. There was basically 3 different parts to his show that involved choreographed dances and just kind of like tough timing. And it was just one of those moments where we were like, this is such a big collab for us. Let's blow this thing out of the water as best we possibly can. And we crushed it. And then Chance the Rapper, he's running around in his Savannah Bananas jersey, and you see like pictures. I think it was like right on his new album release, and he had like a big party or something like that. And you see on the news the next day, they covered it. He's in his jersey the whole time, repping the Bananas. So it was kind of this cool moment where, hey, we kind of belong with these big names. Like, look at what we've done. We've worked super hard to earn this. We're taking great care of them. How can we, take this thing to the next level? And so it was a really cool, I think, piece for us. And a lot of my teammates, they really love Chance the Rapper, so they were like starstruck a little bit. So it was super cool. But I think that was the maybe most elaborate, hardest one to pull off.
some of the other celebrities that you've run into through your journeys playing Banana?
Oh, it's funny because I made a post about this today. John Cena was one of the big ones. Mr. Beast, he's like the most subscribed YouTube channel I think in the world. He came and did some stuff with us. Good Morning America, Tonight Show, All Time Low is like one of my favorite kind of bands I listen to. But yeah, Travis McCoy. Those are some of like the performers we've had. Low Cash, and then like tons of MLB guys, Hall of Famers like Roger Clemens. Some of my favorites have been AJ Pierzynski, Chicago Cubs legend. I pitched to him.
Oh, wow.
At 48 years old. He caught me for an inning. And so we've been able to meet a lot of the biggest names kind of in the music and performing entertainment industry, but also MLB legends and some of my childhood heroes growing up. So
talking with you, your time with the Savannah Bananas has kind of unlocked these opportunities and being able to connect with youth baseball and give kids across the country a chance to be exposed to seeing, what can come with a career in baseball and just fostering a love for the game. Youth sports has grown so much, and especially here in Hawaii. You see it with baseball, you see it with volleyball. Flag football has really exploded. From your perspective and vantage point, what jumps out to you most about how parents treat youth sports nowadays and kind of just how it's grown? Yeah.
And so I would love for this to be a conversation, just given your experience talking to so many coaches of, high school, college, and pro, and how much you talk to athletes as well. I feel like this could be a really cool, informational conversation to have here. So for me, I think the main thing is I just want the next generation to experience the beauty of team sports that I have. And by that, what I mean is it's given me some of the greatest things that life here on earth has to offer. When I talk about my best friends, some of the greatest memories and some of the toughest lessons have all come as a direct result of my involvement in team sports. And quite honestly, I would love for every single kid to get to experience those same exact things. And on a high level, I feel like when we have kids growing up in that environment and experiencing that and learning some of these lessons, it's going to make society as a whole so much better. That's kind of the world I want to live in. And I just think so much about, youth sports now has become so monetized.
No.
The financial hurdle is so high now, higher than it's ever been. And it's tough on families that just want to, do the best for their kids. And sometimes, no one really knows what the best way is to spend money in team sports, and how do we pick a team, and how do we pick a coach, and do we go with private lessons, or do we not? When is the right time to do that? There are so many questions about it. And that's one thing that I really appreciate about the Bananas and my teammates, is that we're in it because we want kids to experience this, like I said. And when I showed up for my first spring training, we saw kind of the year-over-year involvement in team sports, baseball specifically, and you see the number is declining. And so that really hurt me and my teammates, because we're like, man, like this has been such a magical part of our lives. What can we do to, get this thing going again? How can we get more kids excited, to sign up for baseball and be willing to give up, some of their time? And, parents, so many parents are so willing to make these sacrifices. But what can we do to kind of foster this love for youth sports? Mm-hmm. And so I'd kind of love to hear like what you've seen just from a very unique perspective.
Well, I'm wondering what is the best time to get started with youth sports? Because it seems like younger and younger, and then you're also seeing more and more families stick with one sport. So there's that question too. Do you put your kid in multiple disciplines? And when is the right time to start them up?
Yeah. So my disclaimer here is I'm just a dancing baseball player. So I'm grateful that, you're willing to hear my opinion on this. But I think the first thing I'll say is, it's going to be for sure like a case-by-case basis. But I think a general statement I could say is let your kid play multiple sports as long as you possibly can. I think for me, in high school, I played football, water polo, cross country, and baseball. And doing all of those things, it gets you exposed to so many different environments, teammates, groups of people, situations, competitiveness, things that you necessarily might miss out on if you just stick with one sport the whole time. Not to mention the health benefits from resting certain muscle groups, or baseball. We know how hard the throwing motion is, specifically pitching on someone's shoulder or elbow. And taking a break from that and working out different parts of your body, I don't think you can overstate the value of that. And additionally, you're getting used to different coaches, different groups of teammates, different team dynamics. Right. And I think that plays so much benefit on the long term when you can expose yourself to all these different things in places as a direct result of team sports. So there's so much good that can come out of it. And then I think in baseball, kind of the big thing is you need to play competitive travel baseball as soon as possible. And I definitely push back hard against that. And because of the Bananas, I get to connect with so many different families of young baseball players. And hearing some of the horror stories about, hey, we're going to cut your son at 12 years old because we don't think he's good enough to help us win championships is insane. And that was never ever a conversation for me or any of my teammates at that age, who have all gone on to play high-level college and professional baseball. That was never a conversation. And hearing how some of these coaches have kind of prostituted this aspect of team sports, it really it stings, and it makes me want to do something about it. Yeah. And so that's why putting on clinics with my teammates and putting on camps this summer with NYABC, Coach Rack, and Bill Leroy, some of my best friends, fighting kind of this growing negative aspect of team sports. And yeah, man, I remember my dad, he coached me up until 12 years old, and he never even really played baseball. But he wanted to be present for me, and his goal every year was that every single player from last year's team signs up to play again for next year. And if you're a coach out here, I want to say that again. If you're in that young age group, let's call it, any age up to 12, 13, maybe even 14 years old, your goal should be for every player that's on your team to play again the next year. That should be your goal. Because if that's happening, then your players love the game. They enjoy coming out. They enjoy their teammates. They enjoy the competitiveness and the grind of it. And we want more players playing baseball, not less. And the truth is, championships and trophies don't really matter. At 13, it's cool because you might end up in the newspaper or anything like that. And it's a great memory for sure. But more important than that is that you're fostering a love for the game, and that your players really enjoy their friends, being in community, competing. All these amazing things that are going to be so much more beneficial in the long term than cutting a kid at 12 years old because he may or may not help you win a championship.
Right. To be a kid that's 11 years old and you get cut, you run the risk of that child thinking okay, well, then that's that.
Right.
I'm not going to play again ever.
Right. And let these kids be kids, dude. The most talented players at 10, 11 years old may or may not be the most talented players at 17, 18 years old when it's time to go to the MLB draft or commit to college. Some of the best players on the Bananas are Division II college guys who went on to have really successful professional careers, and then now they're playing until they're 28, 29, 30 years old, making a huge impact, having fun, being some of the best players. And that kind of speaks into, as well, just the opportunities of college baseball and how D2 is just as respectable as, D1, and any opportunity could be huge when you look at the World Series and how many of those guys signed from JUCOs or high school or Division II or Division III schools. It's incredible. But yeah, man, just these coaches, I feel like there's a growing movement to kind of make these teams as competitive as possible, as early as possible. And that's not what it's about. Mm-hmm. It's not what it's about.
And it also seems too that a lot of players run into the trap of, okay, I want to be D1, and then they go to a D1 situation that's, perhaps they're behind 7 or 8 guys already. Whereas if you were to go to a D3 or D2, find a different situation where it's okay, I can get daily reps.
Yes.
And I can improve development. I can stay on top of it.
Right. And honestly, that kind of bleeds into one thing that I think the Bananas do super well, and I would love to see this specific aspect grow into the game of baseball, is creating an environment where failure is okay and even encouraged. And one of my coaches, Coach Viro, not only that, but he's one of my best friends. He says, if you want to increase your success rate, you got to double your failure rate. And on the Bananas, if you come to practice, you will see guys trying backflip catch, trying the Iron Lotus catch, which is a side backflip. I don't even know how people do it. Trying all sorts of insane stuff to kind of see what sticks and what doesn't. And the more you try, the more you kind of improve. And then you figure out, what am I going to really spend my time, working towards? Is it, trick plays? Is it trick pitches? Is it a backflip? When you have an environment where you can fail, that's actually what breeds success, I think. And the Bananas do that so well. And I would love to see kind of more and more youth baseball coaches kind of take on that opportunity. And there's a balance. I'll say that, because youth baseball, you're not teaching kids to field the ball in between their legs or do a backflip catch. But it needs to be okay for kids to go out, be willing to take 1 million reps, kick some of them with the goal that their fielding is going to improve, or their contact rate is going to improve, or their strike rate, whatever it may be. We don't need to be harp so hard on, winning right now, competing right now. It's kind of like what Coach Hill said to me. Like, I want to build a winning culture more than I want to win, because wins come from a winning culture. And so I just really think about what can we do as athletes, as coaches, as friends, parents, whatever it may be, to kind of let kids know that it's okay to try new things, to mess up, just because that's going to get you closer to kind of your final product.
Mm-hmm. What's training like for the Savannah Bananas?
Well, it's a lot. I'll say that. When we have a practice, it's about 50% baseball and 50% non-baseball. So it used to be kind of baseball first and then like rehearsals, learning dances second. They kind of learned to flip that because we would kind of lose focus a little bit, kind of hang a carrot from a stick and say, oh, if you guys crush rehearsals, then you can go to batting practice earlier. But it is a full-on batting practice with ground balls and practicing trick plays and pitchers throwing bullpens, counting balls and strikes, getting feedback on mechanics, working to improve our craft as best we can, develop. And then when that's up, we're going to dance rehearsals, and we might be learning a line dance or a big Dance the Rapper rehearsal piece, whatever it may be. Rehearse it as best we can, iron out the details, mess up early, figure out exactly where the cameramen are going to be. It's very, very thorough, because we know that when it's game time, we've got kind of one shot to execute. And if you have seen it live, you know that not everything goes off smoothly. We had a cameraman wipe out, fall multiple times in the game. And it's just that kind of same situation where we're not laughing at him, we're laughing with him because it's funny and it's real. We're all human beings. Uh-huh. And that's kind of one thing that makes it really special is there's a human element to kind of everything we do. And it starts, in rehearsal too, and then it bleeds out to what happens on the field.
What do you pride yourself on as your, I guess, your finishing move?
Yeah. A lot of people have said, I've never said this. This is coming from external sources, that I am the best dancer on the team. I won't claim that. I don't think I am. I think I'm...
Have you always been a dancer?
No.
Someone with rhythm?
No, absolutely not. It took a lot. We had this very basic line dance called Hey Baby, and it took me about 3 months to learn that one right when I joined. But I think what I bring to the table, all jokes aside, is a very kind of goofy approach to dancing. I'm not the best. I think I've gotten so much better. But at 6'5", 240 pounds, my ceiling is limited, in the dance world. But because of that, I've done stuff like the Thunderstruck dance for Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, which ended up on Netflix season 2, the clip of me doing it in a game, which is unbelievable to say. But I've kind of got a goofy, kind of go-lucky, I think, spirit I bring to what I do on the field. And I don't really try and take myself too seriously. I'll mess up, a dance somewhat often. Hopefully my coaches don't hear me say that. But, I think I just a kind of unique approach to having fun, doing whatever I'm doing, and glass half full kind of guy.
And just own it. Yeah. Whatever your skill set is, just own it, right?
Just own it. That's well said. That's very well said. I'm not going to be able to do, Michael Jackson dance routines, but what I can do, I'm going to do as best as I possibly can. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what I do.
I ask this to all the guests. Best piece of advice you've ever received that you continue to share with others to this day?
Yeah. The first thing that comes to mind is from a pitching coach when I was at Georgia Tech. He said, I want your goal for today to make sure that your teammates have the best game you possibly can. So as pitchers, you can really complicate things. You can really simplify things. But how many times as a baseball player have I gone out there with the sole intention of making sure that my teammates have a good game? And that kind of changes your perspective on everything, because not only are you, going out and your mentality is so different. I'm not going out there to strike everybody out. I'm here to make my catcher look good. I'm here to get my shortstop ground ball so he can look good. if you're gonna have quick innings so the offense can go out and take care of their business, because I see them, working so hard week in and week out. The best advice I can give is to make sure your teammates have a good game. And I would love to kind of see people have that active mindset where it's like, what can I do to like serve my teammates here? Serve the people that have come to watch me play, my parents that have made so many sacrifices for me to be here. And not that it puts pressure on, but it's like a gratitude thing and also like a respect for the work that other people have put into it. So yeah, one piece of advice would be, athletes, if you're listening, go out and make sure that your teammates have a great game. That's all it is.
Be an excellent teammate.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Well said.
Tell me about your clinic that you have in December. Just who's invited, what can guests expect? Because this is a big deal, and this is a cause that's very important.
Yeah. So Home Plate Hawaii, part 2 clinic of what we did last year. It's going to be so many of my former teammates, but college and pro athletes, baseball players that are coming out with the sole intention of pouring into the next generation of baseball players. It is going to be elite instruction mixed with competition and having some fun too. So some of the best baseball minds in Hawaii are going to be together putting this thing on, just to try and make as much of an impact as we can from like a fundamental perspective, but also like a mindset perspective. We're gonna have a blast, and we're gonna have a super productive time doing it. Everything is going to be super planned out from the moment that people park and get out of their cars, from the moment people leave. And the goal is that we just want more kids to love the game and to be better at it. Mm-hmm. And so I think just kind of going with that same mindset of like, how can we best serve who's coming? It's going to be elite. And if you've got a young baseball player who's not signed up, I really encourage you, because I think the value that we can bring and kind of what we're asking for on the return is pretty great trade-off, in my opinion. May or may not be an appearance from Coach Hill, out of the goodness in his heart, and just it's going to be a lot of guys with a lot of baseball experience willing to share, just being an open book and seeing how much we can provide to these kids. Is kind of our mindset into that. So
it's not just pitching. You're doing everying at this clinic. It's not just pitching, right?
We're going to provide unique perspectives on hitting, pitching, fielding, infield and outfield, and base running as well. So kind of every aspect that you would want to look at from a young baseball player, we're going to have stations for. It's going to be really cool. Like I said, elite instruction, college and professional experience there. It's going to be great. December 22nd, Pearl City High School, all day. It's going to be great. Check out Home Plate Hawaii on Instagram and on the internet to sign up and get a spot.
Where does Andy Archer want to be in 5 years?
Ooh, yeah. That's an awesome question. I think the first thing I thought of is like being a father. Just, like having the chance to like have a family, just looking at guys like my dad and Coach Hill and so many of these amazing mentors I've had, the way that they've led their wives and their families has given me so much, honestly, desire to do the same exact thing. And I want to, grow up and coach my son and be there for him. But also, aside from that, I want to be in the dugout coaching if I'm not playing at that point. I look at, what coaches have been to me in my life and walked with me through so many of like the hardest parts of life, but also the best parts. And I think the unique part about being in the dugout as opposed to doing one-on-one pitching lessons or whatever it may be is you might have a kid show up to practice one day and be like, what, coach, like, I just got broken up with, or I'm doing terrible in school, or things are a little tough at home right now. Having an opportunity to be a mentor and a positive role model in that way is something that I for sure see myself doing. I don't know the timeline on that. Right. It's hard to say in 5 years. Maybe I'm still playing, maybe not. But I see myself doing that, coaching, and leading my family in 5 years.
Perfect. Yeah, as a parent, it's one of the most beautiful things ever.
Is it hard?
Yes, very much. And it's a roller coaster, but it's just a sweet and magical journey. I tell like new parents now that I'm on the other side of it. Like, when you become a parent, it's like you have a 24/7 full-time job that you have no training for, and you just have to learn as you go, and you're going to mess up along the way. And as long as you made an impact, positive impact, that's the most rewarding part of it.
That's amazing, dude. Yeah. I mean, I'm grateful to have so many of my mentors. all of them are fathers. And I look at like so many different parenting styles, and it's so funny. But
you get all kinds of parenting styles.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Well, welcome back home. It's glad to have you here. Andy Archer, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Great conversation.
That's another edition of the Long Game Podcast. You can catch this conversation, past conversations we've done on the pod, on the H&N streaming app, or wherever you get your podcasts. Aloha.